welcome back to Avery, and welcome to episode 6 of the Natives in Norwich Zoom Room. This week, our special guest is Kevin Horgan, and we focus mainly on pests for us bird keepers, vermin in the bird room, and then different pests like that. So we've got rats, mice, stoats, weasels, birds of prey, and then actually mite as well. So I hope you find this episode useful, and please do enjoy. Hello, this is episode 6 of the Natives in Norwich Zoom Room. This week we have Kevin Horgan on the show, so thank you for joining us, Kev. So please would you introduce yourself and tell us a quick overview of the birds you keep?
Hi, my name's Kevin Horgan. I'm from Cork in Southern Ireland. I'm part of a partnership with my father. We chose P&K Horgan. My father keeps Javas. I keep natives, or British as we call them over, mules and hybrids.
Fantastic.
And I keep a few colour canaries just to play around with.
Excellent, thank you very much. So how did you get started? What age, and did any family keep birds before you?
I would be about the third generation of bird keepers. My father kept them, my grandfather kept them up to a few months ago, but he decided to give up after having them for over 80 years. So.
Oh wow! Well, third generation as well. I imagine there's a lot of knowledge passed down through that as well.
Yeah, it's handy.
Yeah, awesome. So what birds do you specialise in, if any?
Mostly I breed greenfinches and redpoils, but this year I'm after taking on a few pairs of siskins as well, just to see how they go.
Fantastic. So the main focus of this episode, we're going to be talking about vermin proofing and controlling pests. So you are a pest control professional. You've got many years experience with it, and you do know what you're talking about. So we haven't just got a random person on to talk about pests. So we're starting off with rodents. So how many kits do rats, mice have, and how often?
Well, a mouse will breed all year round. Once there's a proper food source from, they'd have on average you're looking between 4 and 9 in a litter of them. You know, that kind of way. Rats would pretty much be the same. Now, they say rats can have between 1 and 15, but realistically you're looking at between, again, 7 to 9, that kind of a way.
Right, fair enough. So how would you suggest start off with eliminating them from the bird room? So say there's an issue, you've got a rodent infestation, how would you eliminate them?
Well, the first thing you want to be looking at, Ali, is if you have an infestation, you have to find out how they're getting in first. You know, you can put down all the poisons and traps you want, but if there's a hole that they're getting in, they're just going to use it as a doorway in and out. So the main thing is proofing. It sounds silly, but especially with mice. Mice have actually no skeleton. Their head is just a cartilage. So they can fold their body down to go anything under 6 mil. No matter how chunky they look, how long they look, 6 mil.
Wow, that is very small. Are we all right, Kev? Have we lost you?
Yeah, it's 2 seconds.
No problem.
I hopefully should be coming back, as I say. No, this thing is. There we are. Sorry about that.
Excellent. Yeah, no problem. Wow, well, 6 mil is very small indeed. So that's with mice. What about rats? Is there anything like that with rats?
The rats can still get through small holes, but obviously, looking at the size of a rat, it's their head. It's the size of their skull, basically, is what you're going off of. So it will need to be larger than 6 mil, but they can still get through something an inch, no problem whatsoever. Like inch and a half, that kind of way. They can, once they get their skull through, no matter how big they are, the body will just fall down and they will squeeze through.
Right, wow. So definitely proofing it and preventing it happening before trying to cure it, ideally.
That's it, but like the main thing when you're looking at proofing, especially with mice, rats can climb. Mice are extraordinarily good at doing it, and they can get up a 2-story house in about 10 seconds if they have a grip on the wall. So like, not only do you look down, you have to look up as well. You have to check up around the top of the roof, fascia, soffit, windowsills, anything like that. Like even if you have water or electricity running into your shed, the entrance and the exits of the pipes, make sure it's fully sealed around it because they will use it.
Wow, I'd not actually thought about that with height. So if they're getting underneath the roof somehow, that's definitely something to consider. That's something I definitely haven't considered, so I'm going to have to check now. So, what's your opinion on the most effective method of control? So, you've got an infestation. How would you suggest is best to control that?
If you have a large infestation, I would go with poison and traps. Mostly poison. Traps are good, but they're one kill. Once something goes on the trap, the trap is out of action after that. Whereas with the poison, you could just say a mouse needs to eat roughly between 3.5 to 4 grams of food a day. So if you can put down 30 grams of poison, you're taking out nearly 8 mice at a time with the poison alone.
Right.
So,
okay.
Best thing as well is at least with the poison when you're using it, even if they don't take the full 4 grams, they'll take enough that'll make them off balance. So it's a case of a mouse that might never go near the trap might only have 2 grams of poison, but he'll wander onto the trap then. So it's
okay.
Well,
completely understand.
You could have traps down in your shed, and you're saying, "I know he's in here. I'm just not getting him." Because what happens with them is they can become trap shy. Rats and mice can. It'd be a case of if they tip the trap and the trap went off, say if they hit the back of the trap and the trap snapped, they'll realise what that was and they won't go back near them again.
Wow. That's so mainly it's the poisons which are probably the best and most effective.
The poisons would be what I'd go for large. If you have large infestations, or even just even in my shed at the moment, I always have poison all year long.
Yeah. How often would you replace that poison?
It all depends on what type of poison you're using, to be honest. There's poisons out there you get it as a paste form, which, if you actually look on them, there's a very, very long life in the poisons.
Yeah.
You might see them go moldy. If it's going moldy, then change it, because rats and mice are like people. If I handed you a moldy burger, you're not really going to want to eat it.
No, that's
but
completely understand.
There's usually expiry life on them is usually 2 or 3 years on the poisons.
Right, fair enough. So replacing it if it obviously goes bad, but otherwise every few years or so would be fine. No, that's fair enough. So you can have poison traps, live catch traps, lethal traps, or glue traps. So as a precautionary measure, what would you best say of all those traps would be the best?
Well, sorry. In Ireland, Southern Ireland, we can't use glue traps. They took glue traps off us about a year and a half ago.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough.
So it's the North and in the UK, you can still use glue traps. We just can't get them over here anymore. It'd be a case of the poisons are pretty safe to have in around your Averys or stuff like that, if you can get them concealed in just a little bit of a pipe, or just an enclosed box that the bird can pick at it.
Yeah.
So you could leave that around all year, and if something comes in, once you can take a peek in to see that the poison's nibbled or gone, you have a fair idea. If you're using the breakback traps, the snap traps,
Yeah.
my advice would be, whether they're in wherever you put them in your shed, make sure you cover them. The last thing you want is the bird to get out of your hand and see your best bird land in their one spot in that shed that you don't want them to land, and that trap just finishes them. It happened to me before, and it's not a nice sight to see.
Oh no. No. So yeah, definitely make sure that out the way of the birds. The birds can't touch them. Yeah, no matter what type of trap it is, pretty much that.
Pretty much, yeah. The one thing I would say is, if you are putting traps down, the main areas that you should put traps would be the 4 corners of your shed. Mice will go to the walls all the time. They've very poor eyesight, so they're going to stay safe in by the wall. Even as a precaution, as you come into your bird room, if you could get traps and just have one on the left-hand side of the door and one on the right-hand side of the door, it eliminates them straight away before they can actually get any further into your shed. they won't come in the door and go straight down the centre of the shed. They come in the door and they're going to go left or right. So if you've traps set up left or right to there, you have them caught before they can get further in.
Excellent. So definitely just mainly keeping it along the edges of the shed, I guess, rather than anywhere else in that sense.
Yeah, and I don't have a trap with me, but I can give you a little demonstration with my e-cig just to show you.
Yeah.
Normally, if your wall is running this way, right, people have an awful habit of getting their traps and laying them flat this side.
Yeah.
What you should do is the part where your base will be here, have your trap coming out this way. That way, they can come from left or right. Whereas if this side, if they hit the back of the trap, it'll bang, and that's what makes them trap shy then, because they know these things are out to stop us.
Yeah. So, definitely keeping it bait side against the shed so you can get them both ways.
So he can go both ways, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much. So, what would you suggest is the best bait for these breakback traps, the snap traps, and how often would you change that bait?
Best bait, well, it's a bait that I use. There's two baits I always use on them, and they've yet to let me down in over 2 years. And that's peanut butter and chocolate spread. They bypass any seed in your shed. They'll bypass anything for it. You want to get something that's the peanut butter and the chocolate. You want it as oily as possible because it's the smell off the oils is what draws them to it.
Yeah.
Changing wise, they're good really for you could leave them down for a week and you can see yourself if you see the peanut butter after getting dry and crusty on it, just flick it off, put some loose stuff down. Or if you want to go, if you don't have it and you're saying I don't want to go to the shop, just get a lighter and run the lighter over it. It releases the smells of the oils again. It's still good then for another 2 or 3 days.
Excellent. So, chocolate spread and peanut butter are the best which you found in. That's brilliant. Thank you for sharing, and I'm sure a lot of people will be getting that down after this.
It don't have to be the fancy stuff.
No, just the cheapest stuff you can get.
The cheapest stuff you can get, and just have it there.
Yeah.
But just don't leave it in the shed because you'll find that they've gone to the jar instead of the trap. So
yeah, no, that's excellent. So we've already mentioned sort of with rodents getting through small holes. Spoke about that maybe a little bit. So a pregnant mouse, would there be any difference in size? They can apparently get through a hole the size of the end of a pen.
That's it. What you're looking at is like the back of a big biro is what they'll come through. That's what we use when we're out proofing a building. It looks silly, walk around with a biro, and you're just going, yeah, it can fit in that. That needs to be filled. Can't fit there. Still fill it just in case. But if a biro can fit through the hole, then they can.
So realistically, they could get through general mesh that we use.
Yeah. Unless you go for the 6mm mesh. The 6mm mesh seems to be the one that catches them out a little bit. But
okay. I'm going to have a look at that as well because my mesh is 10mm, so I need to be a bit concerned about that now.
Get a second bit. Get a second bit of 10mm, and the way you have it, where the squares are, try to line the wires, center that again to run over it, which will reduce it down to a 5mm gap then, and they won't.
No, excellent. Yeah, I think I'll be doing that for sure. So, will rats and mice eat birds, and would maybe one of them be more likely to target birds than the other? And from there, why would they choose maybe a bird over some grain?
Out of the two of them, rats are more known. Rats will take a bird. A rat will take nearly anything, to be quite honest with you. They'll eat absolutely anything they can get their hands on. They will kill a bird, and if they get into your shed, they will cause extreme damage. They'll just kill. They might only eat one, but they'll just kill just for the sake.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's not great.
No, it's not. It happened to a friend of mine a few years back where one got in, and in the space of one night, it took about 40, he killed 47, but only took one.
Wow. I've
But when I say they've taken, they won't eat the whole lot. They'll
no.
take a wing off one, they'll take the head off one, they'll take the leg off one. But
Yeah. Oh, I've had a similar experience. Thankfully, not that many birds, and this was before I kept a lot of the natives. I'm sure you might remember actually me contacting you about that. But it was exotics in an aviary, and rat got in, and it. Well, I think they have expensive taste because they took.
that's
They could
it's
have took.
always good birds
Yeah.
they go
So,
for.
yeah, you could have taken a £4 zebra finch. No, you're going to take my £40 Gouldian finch. Great, thank you for that. And so yeah, but yeah, that wasn't pleasant. But thankfully, touch wood, solved that at the moment. So let's hope that doesn't happen again. So why would they choose a bird over grain or something else?
To be honest with you, the way rats are evolving, it doesn't matter. They'll just go for the easiest. They'll go for the easiest feed, and they'll go for the bigger feed. Like a rat has to have 30 grams of food a day, and where the difference between a rat and a mouse is, a rat has to have fresh water every day. It has to drink at least 60 mils of water a day. A mouse can get I think it's 4 milliliters they need, but they can take moisture from apples and stuff, whereas a rat has to have a fresh water source.
Right.
So,
Okay.
like, rats are actually super intelligent. Like you might say, he's out to get into my shed. You think he eat the seed, but the rat is there thinking, I can eat the seed, and it could take me 20 minutes to get my 30 grams, or I can pull that bullfinch off the porch and get my 30 grams in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So they conserve their energy that way. Like so,
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. So actually, just with them, so what did you say? How much water did they need?
60 milliliters a day.
So, would maybe a liquid poison be something?
It can be, but the only problem with a liquid poison is it's very hard to control. With a liquid poison, you can get spillages, and you can you can actually cause more damage than to say non-target species.
Yeah.
That kind of a way, because realistically, everything needs to have water. So if you have a water poison, you could kill out half the
Yeah.
wildlife out
Yeah.
your back and that.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. So I guess more of a bait suited to a rat with poison on it would be better than a liquid poison as such.
Well, that's it, because like what you will see is if you are putting down poison blocks and you come out, the whole block is gone today. You go, right, put another one down. You come out tomorrow, the whole lot's gone again. They actually store food. He will pick up that full 60-gram block and carry it miles back to where he wants to and store it away. Because if he has another food source, he's storing it for harder times when the food source is running low.
Yeah.
So that's why I prefer to use grain over blocks. Now, it all depends in the businesses we're in, or the atmosphere, or what's around us, that kind of way.
Got you.
But if it was me, I go for grain all the time over blocks, because with the grain, it's so small. They have to stay and take their 30 grams of feed out of it.
Yeah.
They can't pick grain up and carry it back. So if you're using grain bait and you see that your tray is gone of grain, then he's after eating that. You've no problems with him anymore. He's gone.
Yeah. No. That's that's some great advice there as well. Thank you very much for sharing that. That's a really good point. That actually, as grain, they're not going to store that as easily anyway, I imagine. So, what is the best deterrent for of rodents from outdoor aviaries?
From outdoor aviaries, outdoor ones see would kind of get you off guard, because for the simple reason is we're always trying to stop them from coming in to where we live. When we have outdoor aviaries, we're actually going to where they live, so it's hard to figure it out. The main thing would be, as I say, Hygiene's the main thing. If there's if there's not a load of waste seed around the place, if there's nothing for them to feed off of on the external that's going to draw them in, then they're not going to stay around. They will, like, no matter what you do, no matter how clean your aviary is, outdoor aviary, it's the same with businesses. Rats actually go on patrol at night. They travel a fair few miles at night just to source of food. So they will pass it, but if there's no food there from, they'll just continue on past. They won't stay there. They're not going to waste time.
Right. Okay. So mainly hygiene.
Hygiene. Now I know it's hard with outdoor aviaries because birds are throwing seeds. It's next thing after that will be the proofing. If you can, a good solid concrete base, if you can, just to stop them from digging up under it. The smaller, if you can, as I said to you a while ago, the 5 or 6 mil box mesh.
Yeah.
On the outside with maybe 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch meshing behind that, just to make it a bit tougher for them to get through.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do really. What you could do if you wanted to is have external bait boxes on the outside of your flights and keep topping them up with grain poison, so that they're saying this box is actually a feeding station for us. We don't need to go in there. We know there's food here every night for us. Why should we waste our time digging to try to get in there for the same thing that's out here in the box for us to begin with?
Yeah, fair enough. So, is there maybe a specific material that would be better? I mean, I know that I believe rats could chew through metal with not too much of an issue. But would you say that there would be a specific material that would be better to maybe line something with?
As you say, rats they'll chew through a mass concrete wall for you once they get a grip with their teeth. They'll go through nearly anything, but what we have found is, even if you are putting, say, layers of wire down, if you can, wire wool or brass wool, but the wire wool that you can buy in a wholesalers, co-ops, that kind of way on the roll, stretch it out, pack it in between them. Rats will eat through anything, but they're not stupid either. The wire wool gets caught in between their front teeth, top and bottom.
Yeah.
It cuts their gums. Once that hurts them, they're not going to keep eating at something that hurts them.
Fantastic.
They might do it twice, but they won't come back. They won't come back the third time.
Yeah. So using wire wool is an effective method for something that they won't chew.
Yeah, rats and mice, they won't. It gets caught up in their teeth and it hurts them, and after that, then they won't.
Excellent. Yeah, no, fair enough. So actually, that was the next question about wire wool, but obviously you said that is a good thing. So actually, poisons on grain. Some you can buy different types of grain and what you could get red ones, you could get blue ones. Obviously, I imagine it's a different type of poison. What would you say are probably the best poisons for putting on grain?
The poison that we use, I had to write this down now because it's so long since I actually even tried to pronounce this word. And bear with me. Bromidolene is an active ingredient. It's usually what's in the blue grain.
Right. Okay.
That's the one that I use. We find that very effective.
Yeah, that's great. So putting that on grain is probably the best.
Well, if you look at it, if you look at the poisons when you're buying them, the grain baits and all that will be their active ingredient.
Got you.
That will be their active ingredient. Now, the only thing, I don't know what way it is over in England, but I know over here in Ireland, the likes of the poisons and grains and stuff like that we were able to buy in co-ops and wholesalers before. There was new legislations came in a year and a half ago, that kind of a way. And basically, they didn't want the public to be getting their hands on full strength stuff because they didn't know what they were doing with it and this and that.
Yeah.
So now we're all monitored over here at the pest control industry by CREW. It's the health It's the organisation basically for wildlife protection, toxins, poisons, all this and that. What we're actually finding is, since they're after taking that out, people are still buying poisons and that in the co-op with that active ingredient in it. But just say the one you're getting in the co-op is only 2%, where the one we use could be 8%. Now we have to have a license, a PUM license is what it's called, for handling toxins and rodenticide, insecticide, and pesticides.
Yeah.
We have to renew that every couple of years and do courses every year just to keep it going. But what we're after finding is that, just say you went down now and bought a big tub of this stuff that's only 2%, you've been using it for the last 4 months, you're still getting problems. What's after happening is they're after building up an immune system.
Yeah.
They're only getting 2% at a time, 2% at a time, so they're building up. Whereas, I know you're not going to want to run to a pest control company for just one mouse, but if you come to a case of where you have a large infestation, or you think you have, I know they charge a bit, but more than likely it's only 2 visits. There's 2 to 3 visits all it'll take them to wipe the entire thing out. Because they come in with the stronger bait, they put that down. If it's rats, they have the license to borrow bait, they can do all that stuff, so they can wipe out a whole main toxic area in about 21 days.
Wow, fair enough. So, yeah, definitely, if the stronger stuff is available and there is an issue, then definitely come to a pest control, because you definitely have the stronger poisons than what we can buy. So,
but as I said, if you are using the poison, that's why I'd always recommend putting down a couple of the breakback traps or glue traps as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to go overboard on it. Like if you were putting 4 down, let's say if you had 4, if you knew you had mice or rats coming into your boardroom at night, do the 4 corners with grain or blocks or paste, whatever you want to use. But in between them, have 4 traps. So like, say the 2 gable ends trap in the middle of that wall. Because once he eats it, after a few minutes, he's going to start getting disorientated. He's going to start wobbling because it's something he never had before.
Yeah.
And that's within where you're hoping that they'll stagger onto the trap, and then you can come out and have the body the following morning.
Excellent. So, what about using alcohol? I imagine that'd have a similar effect, wouldn't it? Stumbling.
Well, you could, but if you start using alcohol, you're going to catch a lot of the admin team in your shed, to be fair.
yeah, attracting other pests, which, yeah.
You'll be tracking the 2-legged pest then at this stage, and they're hard to get rid of, to be honest, Ollie.
No, fair enough. Yeah, so keep it just to poisons is probably the better one.
Yeah, probably better off.
So, have you ever been ratting with dogs, anything like that?
I used to do a lot of hunting in my younger days. A lot. There wasn't many things I didn't actually hunt for. The only thing we used to do ratting was mostly for, we had permission off farmers, to do rabbit and ferret and open hunting with the doctors and what have you. And they could turn around to us and say, we've chickens up the top, there's a problem around the coop, or that kind of way. And we just go through as a favour from just help him out so that he'd bring us back into the land again the following year.
Yeah, fair enough.
I've done it a few times. Now, over here, ratting wouldn't be as big as it is over in England, because I've seen some of the YouTube videos from the groups on Facebook, and by God, man.
So what dog would you recommend using? Mainly just to target rats, and actually, if a birdman was to get a dog with, I guess, the main purpose of pest control and rodents, and what would you suggest would be sort of the best breeds to go for?
Well, I always used to keep terriers growing up. From a young fella, my grandfather used to, my dad used to. We always had Jack Russells. As I got a bit older, and I started, like in my mid-teens, then I started going into the likes of Patterdales and Fell Terriers, and started crossbreeding the Patterdales and the Fells. To me, I biased there because I love paterns and fells.
Yeah.
I find
No,
that they're good all rounder. They're hard. They're solid. It doesn't
yeah.
matter whether it's a cat, a fox, a mouse, or a rat comes in. They'll have a go off it anyway to try
No. So mainly terriers would be the
terriers. But
go-to.
I can't talk now because at the moment I have two little lurchers outside, two three-quarter whippets, quarter Beddingtons.
Fair enough. Have they ever caught anything for you?
They have, but it's mostly rabbits. They're only young. There's one, he's about 18 months, the other fella's 2 years old.
Oh,
And
excellent.
then there's the old dog, he's 17, my little Tegel cross, and he's still going strong out the back. There's not much will get past him.
Oh,
And if they do
excellent.
get and if it does get past him, that's where the two young lads come in, and they have the speed to catch back up to get him.
Brilliant. Yeah, I've done hunting before, but that's with the Harris hawk and ferrets. So that's a bit different. And really not targeting rats there. That's
I,
mainly,
I know
you know.
I know fellas that have used ferrets on rats, like they
Yeah,
have. It never
yeah,
turns out good. It never turns out good for the ferret, to be fair. Like,
yeah. I've heard bad stories about ferrets and rats. So probably keeping ferrets away from going
see,
targeting rats would be the best thing.
that's it. When you come to rats, they're neophobic, is what it's called. So if you
Oh,
have
right.
rats around your Avery and that, and you put a trap out, it's going to take a rat about 4 days to get used to that trap. He won't go near that trap for 4 days. So if you think that you do have rats around your shed, your Avery, under your shed, whatever it is, they have a very good sense of smell, and they don't like anything new. It takes them a while to get used to
Right.
it. I'd advise, if you're buying brand new traps, put them in a bucket of water for 2 or 3 days. Put gloves on before you touch them. Then they will smell human off you, and they can smell newly greased traps or oil traps. They don't. They won't go near them.
Oh, right. Okay. So
So
yeah, soak them in something to remove the
soak them,
human scent.
just or leave them out. Just leave them out to get weathered for 2 or 3 days out the back with nothing going near them. That kind of a way.
Yeah.
Um, as when it comes to setting them, I'd put them down first 2 days without setting them.
Got you.
Build up his confidence that he can come at it and it's not going to bang. So if you put the trap down for say 2 days, maybe 3 days, with the bait, and then you start seeing by the third day the bait has gone off it, then you're kind of going, right, no, I haven't,
Got
because
you.
he's confident to come to the trap. So that
Yeah.
when you set it to him, it's nothing to him.
Yes.
He's not.
So yes. So actually using the trap like a bait station,
Yeah,
and then yeah, just flipping it on them, and then yeah, gets them. All right, that's excellent.
that's it.
Yeah. So I know that a few people, maybe people who are watching, have actually had issues with weasels, stoats, and stuff like that. Now, I believe, at least in the UK, it's illegal to kill them using fen traps or something like that. But what would you say would be the best deterrent? Maybe something to eliminate them.
When it comes to like weasels and stoats, as you were saying, like stoats are protected over here. Like I believe they're protected in England as well.
Yeah,
That you
I think
can't.
so.
You have to catch them. You have to catch them humanely. Catch them in a live trap. Try to relocate them. All that. It's
Yeah,
the likes come with them is tough. And to be honest with you, that's about all you can do for them is try to catch them in a live trap and relocate them,
right.
because they're not going to leave their area. They're used to that. No matter what you put down, they're just going to keep, because the likes of stoats in them, they're a killer machine. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
what size it is, they're going to have a fight off it, and
definitely.
ninety
Yeah,
percent of the time they win.
yeah, yeah. I've seen that stoats will take something a hell of a lot bigger than them. Rabbits, hares, and
There's-
things like that.
oh yeah,
So
I've seen. Even if you go on YouTube, I think there's actually one of a stoat on the back of a rabbit.
yeah,
The
yeah,
rabbit sits down the field, and your man just hanging on, just
yeah.
perseverance.
I recall seeing something like that. What about a bit of a, I don't know, a deterrent for them? Would you just say pretty much similar to the rats and mice, just thick, double
But,
layer of
but
mesh, etc.
that's it. It's the same thing. Like 90% of the time, proofing is going to be your main thing. It's
Yeah.
if you can make it solid, if you can make it in, if you can make it so that they can't get in, you're doing well. Banks have been doing it for years. We can't get into their safe unless you go in with a shotgun. But
Yeah.
like it's the same kind of a thing. You know, it's just to turn them off. The harder you make it from, the faster they're going to give up.
Fair enough. So, well, from the roadside and that, we're going to start talking about Mite. So, Mite, yeah. So, so Mite. This is probably one of the most common pests that I'm pretty sure every bird keeper, we have to deal with them, and we all know that they're in what. So, what methods and what products do you use to keep the mite populations low? Because you're probably not going to be able to eliminate all of them. But what do you do to keep them low and to keep them managed?
I have, you laugh, you know, one of these hand steam cleaners,
Yeah.
you know, the little plug-in? They're fantastic, and I do the cages, and then even in winter, they still get done once a month at least, because the heat that comes out of them will actually burn the mite, but it'll also burn the eggs, which is
Right.
the main thing you want to get rid of. Like
Yeah.
you can get rid of mite with you know, the likes of these ADAR sprays and all stuff like that. But
Yeah.
the problem with them is they're like most of the aerosols, they're kill on contact. Be like a fly spray.
Yeah.
You know, if after a couple of hours it's gone out of the area, and a different fly can come in and he can live happily in the area. It's the same with mite. So with the sprays and the water solutions and stuff like that, what's happening is you're actually killing the parents,
Yeah.
but within 5 days later the eggs are hatching. So you have to start the process all again. If you don't do it within the 5 days, by the time they're 2 days old, they have eggs laid again, and then you'll have to go and wait another 5 days to try to wipe out that and wipe that out and wipe that out. And all it takes for you is to go out on the 6th day instead of the 5th day. But lo and behold, there's some eggs there already, and you have to wait another 5 days to start going again.
So, really, actually using what did you say? Steam cleaner.
A steam cleaner, just nothing inside it, just water inside it for the heat.
Yeah.
Go through all, you know, the cracks, everything in the cage. It burns a lot out of them. But I don't use the likes of ivermectin or frontline. I don't use that. No specific reason, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
I've been using for the last few years. There was I was talking to Kenny Masterman, and Kenny was saying it to me. Called Dynamite, Dyna, DYNA, and then Mite. It's a herbal one. It's made up, I believe, 1 ml to a litre of water, that kind of way. And I just spray the birds with that once a week. It's harmless to the birds. You can spray their nests, you can spray 2-day-old chicks with it, you can spray 1-day-old chicks with it. Don't have to remove the water, don't have to remove the seed, nothing. And I spray the birds and the cages once a week with that. And touch wood, that seems to be working for me.
Excellent. So that's dynamite, and that's a liquid which you put in the water, and then but as a spray, not really drinking water as such.
Not drinking water, no. Like I put mine into a litre pump spray or pump it and just go mad. You know, just spray all the cage, the birds, the perch, everything all in one go with it. You can put in their bat water. Actually, if you read the actual back of Dynamite, you can use it on dogs, horses, cats as a repellent before you bring them out in the fields.
Oh,
it's all natural, and it's a lovely smell off it.
Excellent. I'll definitely have to look into that, actually. Yeah, so I want to ask you about mite bombs. Have you ever used a mite bomb? Do you find them effective?
I have used them, but then again, the mite bombs are the same as the sprays. They're killing contact. So some people say it doesn't work for them. Some people say it does work. Personally, I think they work, but not to the effect that people think they will.
Yeah.
Because they'll set a mite bomb off, just say on a Monday. Realistically, you're after killing all the older mite, spiders, everything in the shed. But like you go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you should be setting another mite bomb off then again, because that's when the eggs are hatching.
Yeah.
So I can't say they work 100%, and I can't say they don't work.
Yeah. No, fair enough. So, but you don't use them then?
I've used them before. Now I probably use them once a year, and you'd laugh. I find them very good before the breeding season to actually clear the respiratory in birds.
Oh, really?
If you set one off in your shed, don't set a full tablet off if you've only a small setup, because and word of advice: let your neighbours know that you're setting off a smoke bomb in your bird room.
Yeah.
Or else you'll see blue lights outside your house in 15 minutes, and you're going, what?
Yeah, the fire brigade are watering down your shed. So,
Basically, yeah. And they're actually handy as well, because they will point out you where there's any entry point for mice if you stand outside, because you can see where the smoke is coming out.
yeah.
So wherever the smoke is coming out, that means there's a gap there.
Got you. So actually, yeah, very useful for that as well. So, well, I guess so. What you need to do with a mite bomb then is repeat it. So what every maybe 5 days for a week.
What you have to do is you have to watch out for the breeding cycle on mice, and I believe it's 5 days. It's 5 or 6, that kind of a way.
Yeah.
I'm 95% certain that it's 5 days, Ollie. I'm open to being told I'm wrong. But like it's pointless only doing the first treatment and killing off the adults, and then saying, "Oh, I'm good." And you don't do one for 3 weeks, and at that stage, then you're looking and going, "I done a treatment 3 weeks ago, and look, you see mite all across the cage, and
Yeah, you're back at square one.
that's it."
Yeah.
Like you have, it's like everything else. You have to do the full cycle. You have to kill off the parents, kill off the young, and even set one off then again 5 days after that, just in case you miss something.
Yeah.
Got
you. So, yeah. So,
I prefer to go one extra course of doing it than one less.
Yeah.
Because it's going to do no harm.
Yeah, fair enough. Is there any specific brand you would recommend of mite bomb? I've had a look, and to be honest, I've been wary because I don't want to get something that could cause issues. Is there anything that you found works well for you?
I've only used one type, to be quite honest with you. I can't remember the name, but I think Shane showed it in his video a couple of weeks back. It's a white tub with a yellow label on the front, and I think there's a pigeon on it.
Got you.
But as I say, people come around and say, I've used mite bombs and I'm after losing birds from it. But what people have to realise is those mite bombs are made for a 40 to 60 foot pigeon loft.
Yeah.
That one goes off. And there's people complaining that it's after killing birds when they're setting them off in an 8x8 shed.
Yeah. So
it's too much. It's...
Yeah. No, so that's fair enough, because I guess you're just cramming in a larger volume. It's just a higher concentration of it in the air. So
that's it, and that way, then the birds are suffocating because there's not enough air mixing around. Like my bird room is 30 by 12, and if I was setting off one of the smoke bombs, I'd probably use half a smoke bomb, to be honest with you. And I never had an issue with them when I used half a smoke bomb.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing that. So you'd said you don't use Frontline or ivermectin or anything else. Why is that?
It's too hard to get over here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
It is. We're actually lucky that the likes of like down in Cork, we don't have much, to be honest with you. We're down the south. Believe it or not, I actually get my orders from Dublin. I get stuff off Dotty in Avian World. I get stuff off Bird Jungle up there and that, because they actually get the stuff in. We can't get it down in Cork, and they charge about €60 for up to 30 kg delivered to your door, and you have it within the next day. So it's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So we're now going to move on to a bit about birds of prey. Now, you can't. It is illegal to kill birds of prey, so absolutely no one watching, don't do it. But how do you deter them from your flights? Is there anything specific that you do to try and keep them away and giving
Try
you
to keep them
contact.
away, and it's all the. You've seen people say hang CDs off the front that'll make it flicker, that kind of a way.
Yeah.
They don't like bright light shining back at them, they'll move. You can go into, I know there's fishing tackle shops and hunting shops down here, and they'll actually sell you larger birds of prey, plastic
Oh yeah.
bowls of them that you can mount up. But they're not that stupid. After a while, they're saying, we're here every day and your man hasn't moved once. You know?
Yeah, got you. So, I don't know. Do you? So, what would you do? Is there anything that I don't know you do to try and keep them away from that?
Well, as I say, it's the same with rats and mice. It's prevention more than having to do something.
Yeah.
So if you have your outdoor aviary set up where they will come, they will see the birds. They will. I know your birds will be stressed, they'll be panicked. But if there's a part in the outdoor aviary where they can go, hide, shelter, whether it's fully enclosed with bushes down the back for their safety, they can go and hide that way. Where say a hawk is 5 foot away from them and he can't get nowhere near them, that kind of a way.
Yeah.
After a while, the hawks just get fed up. They're looking for easy feed. They're trying to consume their energy as well so they can go on through the day. So the harder you make it from, the better it is for yourself. I've actually seen, I can't remember where exactly, but I've actually seen in someone's setup. I suppose he has about 15 or 20 outdoor aviaries, and what he actually has is from the floor to 3 foot up is actually fully closed timber with 6mm mesh on the outside of that again to stop him.
Yeah.
Above that, he has the wiring going up again another 3 or 4 foot, that kind of a way.
Yeah.
But he actually has off the top of the flights sloping this way down about a foot, and he has corrugated plastic on the front of that. So there's only that much of just that much of a gap in the centre.
Yeah.
But his birds can go that way, and he just has cover all down the back then from him.
Oh, fair enough. So that works well.
Because most of the hawks try to come from a height down. Vermin try to come from the bottom down. He just has this little gap in the middle that when he stands, it's head high for him.
Yeah.
He can look, and as he said, the best thing about it is when it's raining, he can stand there and the water's going off behind his back. He's not getting wet when he's looking for birds.
Excellent. So that works well then with that. Yeah. I've seen some people double mesh it, and I guess that's more stopping a hawk taking something off a perch if there's a perch close to the front. And then there's actually scaffold netting as well.
The green scaffold netting is good, to be honest. It leaves light in, and as you know, when you're standing on the outside, you can't make out properly what's in there. You might see something move, but you don't know what it is.
Yes.
Most of the birds of prey will only go for something smaller than themselves.
Yeah. No,
like the sparrowhawks aren't going to go to attack a bear now. That kind of a way.
Yes.
So they want to see something small moving inside.
Yeah. So just visual blocks is, I guess, the best thing for that.
Or if you have the room and the money, you could build a safety corridor 2 foot out off that again.
Yeah.
That if he comes to the safety corridor, there's 2 foot plus your flight then.
Yeah.
But
fair enough. So we've pretty much covered all of the questions at that. So is there any more methods of prevention, removing vermin, or anything else that you'd like to mention on that?
Methods of madness is what you're trying to say, Ali.
Perhaps.
No, as I was saying, like, for outdoor aviaries, you can only do so much from. You're basically you're putting your birds out in their habitat instead of them trying to come into yours. So if you can just keep it clean, and as I said, get 1 or 2 of the outside boxes where you can just throw the poison in and keep tracking it once a week. If you see it being taken, you're grand. Rats are most active 1 to 2 hours after sunset. That's when they come alive. If you have them around your aviary, because it'd be the same as, I don't know, maybe if you're walking through a park with your dog or something, you keep cutting across the grass every day. The grass gets worn down, turns into a little mud track after a while. You'll see
Yeah.
that. You'll see that with rats as well.
Got
The
you.
same way.
Yeah.
And at that stage, then you can go further towards where they are. You can see where they are, and you can start eliminating them further back.
Yeah. But would you you know, so if you've actually, you know, you've got a rat run, for example, would you place a trap on that?
I wouldn't at the start. I'd be kind of more in line to try to bring the poison more back the line,
Yeah.
because they're coming that line. They're coming that line for food.
Got you.
Whereas if you're using a trap, you're killing him, but there's someone else waiting to come out after him. You know, that kind of a way.
Yeah.
I'd kind of say, if you could find it and maybe go 10, 15 feet back from your Averys and put bait out there from, and try to work that way. Ideally, if you could find where their actual burrow is,
Yeah.
you're laughing then, because rats are very nervous when they're outside. But as we were saying a while ago about the ferrets and that, once you put something into a rat burrow, they're 100% confident. They will take anything and they will stop anything coming into it. Whether it's poison, ferrets, dogs, anything like that, they'll stand and fight that. So if you're getting the food source close to them, happy days, they'll enjoy that. Like,
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Is there anything else you'd like to mention, put out there before move on?
pest-wise, no, to be quite honest. I just like thank yourself, Ali, for getting me on this, and the lads in the admin team.
Yeah, no problem.
You're doing a
Thank you very
great
much
job,
for
and
coming on.
I think we'd have to say a big thank you to Mr. Colin and Mac Finch for the wonderful job they're doing.
Yes, definitely. So, Dave and Mac Finch, thank you very much, guys, for the work you're doing with this.
And my seed man and player, and he's also our sponsor, which is even better.
Yes,
Avian
yes.
World. Dotty.
Yes, so thank you for sponsoring Avian World Dublin. So everyone who's watching, please check out Avian World Dublin. Get your stuff from there, especially if you're in Ireland. So
Yeah. Well, he's delivering to England now as well.
yeah, well, yeah, definitely. That's a recent development, isn't it? So yeah, there's all sorts there. So well, Kev, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate
Ali,
it.
thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
So that does bring us to the end of this episode. So I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful and picked up some tips along the way. So in 2 weeks' time, the next guest on the Zoom room will be Mr. Keith Ferry, where we'll be focusing on Norwich, and then we have a really good lineup, especially over the next few episodes, for some of the people we've got on. So please do subscribe to follow along with all of that and keep up to date with it all. We also have our competition, so it ends on the 15th of April, and it's just a photo of a pair of birds in the same photo, so you're not putting two photos together. So if you would like to enter that, then please do, and you can, there's some good prizes to be won there, so please do check that out, and that's on the Natives of Norwich Facebook page. So thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do hit the subscribe button. If you did like this video as well, leave us a like. Get the notification bell on and share this video. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to Dotty Reel at Avery Dublin for sponsoring the Natives in Norwich group and these videos. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.